This is a rare film by Fujifilm that I was lucky enough to find. I was in a camera shop that sells lots of different films from a variety of brands, including ones that you might describe as exotic because you don't really see them around that much. As I was looking through the choice, I noticed Unique Box, a film by Fujifilm, so not exactly unusual actually, but the box was unlike any box design I had ever seen. Below the box was the price tag and a little note that said "Last Roll." The film is presumably discontinued, so Fuji doesn't produce it anymore, which means that this roll in this shop is going to be the last one that this shop is ever going to sell. Thus, I thought I had to just take this chance and try it out. And of course, I'm not going to just try this out solely for my pleasure. I decided to make a video documenting a portrait session I did with this film in order to share the experience with you. And let me tell you already, this film was a lovely surprise. Let me show you. So this film is Fujicolor NPS 160. On the box, it also says professional portrait film, and that pretty much summarizes what this film is about. As far as I could find out, NPS 160 was released in the 90s and intended to produce soft colors, fine grain and natural looking skin tones. A bit more of a neutral look in comparison to the likes of Velvia or Superior Extra. I suppose one could consider this the Fujifilm equivalent to what Portra 160 is in Kodak's lineup of films. In 2004, it was replaced by Fujicolor Pro 160S. Thus, nowadays, finding a roll of Fujicolor NPS 160 can be considered rare, I guess. I have found a few rolls here and there on eBay, but of the many camera shops I visited, this one where I found this roll of film is the only one so far where I came across this film. So, with this newly acquired film, I was excited to shoot it. However, I felt like it'd be a shame to shoot just whatever I usually shoot with this, considering that it literally says portrait film on the box. Obviously, a portrait session would be more appropriate, and luckily, just a couple weeks prior, I actually got to know a professional model, and so I thought maybe there's a chance that she would shoot with me. On the other hand, I thought my chances aren't exactly high because, well, I had to explain that I'll be shooting a film that expired 20 years ago, so there is no guarantee that any usable photos will come out of this session. However, lucky me again, that did not bother her, and so we decided to shoot together and find out what this 20-year-old expired roll of Fuji NPS 160 is actually capable of.
Sabe mi sentimiento, siente mi amor. No me dejes sufrir, mamá, quita mi dolor.
It was a wet Monday morning, and I had taken the train into town to this area of Tokyo next to Yoyogi Park, known as Yoyogi Hachiman. Good morning. It is a fine Monday morning, and I have found a little roof just to stay dry to load the camera. I still have about 20 minutes left before I meet the model to shoot. And so I'm just exploring a little to, scout locations, and then I'll go to the meeting point, and then the shoot begins. Alright, let me introduce you a new face.
We wait for the construction.
Oh, not the... Alright, let me introduce to you a new face on the channel.
Hi, I'm Georgia.
And yeah, let's begin our shoot. Let's begin the shoot. This is Georgia, who I had met by coincidence just a couple weeks prior. She's also a halfy Brit and Japanese, just like me. However, unlike me, she's not from Austria. She's from the country that the Japanese often think I'm from, Australia. She moved to Japan quite a while ago and works as a commercial model here in Tokyo. If you'd like to see more of what she's up to, do check out her Instagram, and she too has a YouTube channel, by the way. I'll leave links to everything in the description. So yeah, over here I think there is some potential. We began to just walk through the streets here, look for a spot that is not too crowded of course, because we don't want to be in the way while shooting. It was here around these bushes where I tried to find the first shot of the day. Anything around here? Oh, that could be quite interesting, yeah. No, actually there's like this perfect little, I think that's why you sat there, because there's like this perfect little spot in there that works really well. Thank you. So here is shot number 1, and right off the bat I must say this 20-year expired film looks incredible. This is so much better than what I expected. I like this photo, it's an interesting scene filled with details. I enjoy all the plants and how Georgia somewhat naturally integrated herself into the scene by shrinking to the size of the moped and the bushes around her. So we're off to a good start, I'd say.
And I'll just get a different angle. How about you stay like that, but slightly move this way, just slightly. Yeah, I think that could work. Thank you.
So here's the second version I got. I think the first one is much better. I just liked a lot about that one, and those features are not given in this one. It's not terrible or anything, but the other one just feels more interesting to me.
Great warm-up. I really liked the way you sort of just automatically find your way to pose in the environment. That's
Having to direct them all, no matter how professional they might be. We don't know what we don't always know what we look like on the other side.
I was thinking anything here could be fun because of all this greenery, and I think with your sweater that just fits perfectly. How I like this like slab of concrete here. So
I ended up not really making any use of the concrete wall after all, because I just decided to shoot from a low angle, so the wall was not even in frame. Here's the shot, and I think you can see now why I decided to go with this angle. The light from above shines quite nicely onto Georgia's face, and I was drawn to all the greenery surrounding her that fills the frame. This is something I adore in Tokyo. There is so much vegetation. This shot looks like it could have been shot in a park, but actually it was just a random street downtown. Also, one more thing about this photo, these colors are looking incredible. I'm so impressed by this film. I was really not expecting the results to look this good. Then, before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank the continued sponsor of my channel, Squarespace. When anyone ever asks me how or where to make a website, I always just send them to Squarespace. It is, in my opinion, such a good service that combines easy and intuitive usage with creative freedom. Over the years, they've created this incredible product that allows me to make a website intuitively without any coding knowledge, while still giving me creative freedom to play around with designs and the character of the website. I myself have been using Squarespace for 5 years now, and it's been great and seriously constantly getting better. I use my website to showcase my projects that are either completed or currently still in progress. However, you can actually use Squarespace for so much more than what I do. You can make a simple blog, but you can even make an entire online shop, site for bookings if you're a freelancer, pretty much anything. You can start off with one of the many templates and then customize their layout and design. Alternatively, you can also use their AI tool, which lets you create a website by basically describing it. But whatever you do, you get so much freedom to just change and customize everything so easily thanks to their drag and drop editing system called Fluid Engine. You can head to squarespace.com for a 14-day free trial, and then when you're ready to launch your website, you can go to squarespace.com/TeoCrawford to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for continuously supporting the channel and my work here. I really appreciate it.
Full of greenery. And I'm thinking, shall we try one of the moved shots? So for this one, we'll do a couple rehearsals, sort of. Imagine in a film, I'd be like on a dolly filming you as you walk and look back at the camera.
Okay.
So we'll be getting you as you walk.
Sure, do you want me facing this way?
And I'll try to catch that moment in the movement.
Sure.
We'll see if it works. Let's go. Okay. Yes, I think a big turning movement will be more apparent in the photograph, so I think that would work. Yes, I think that's what we'll do.
By the way, in case you're wondering, I was shooting with my Pentax K1000 and a Pentax 35mm f2 lens, and for the film, I decided to strongly overexpose it. So usually I meter the light for the shadows to ensure a bright photo. But seeing as this film's expiration date is around 20 years ago, I overexposed an additional 2 stops. I'm not an expert or anything on this, but something I've just randomly picked up is that for expired film, it is a decent rule of thumb to overexpose 1 stop per expired decade. I don't know how the maths work, but just from experience, I can say that this has been working pretty well for me.
Let's do a second try. Because I think with the slow shot, I'm always willing to do like 2 or 3 because increased chances for the right shot. All right, I'm ready. All right. No idea if that's any good, but we'll see. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Here are the two shots. I think they worked out okay, but also not really. They turned out a little too blurry, I find. I love the look of the motion on the sides of the frame, especially the bushes on the left look great. However, I wasn't able to catch Georgia in a sharp enough manner. I think if I remember correctly, this was at 1/15th of a second. This could have possibly worked better at 1/30th. I think, however, 1/50th might have been too sharp again. It's a tricky shot on film, but I'm happy we tried.
Let's go that way. Yeah, I was thinking those steps there are pretty cool.
Next, we decided to shoot at these stairs because there seemed to be some potential here. However, I was uncertain of what exactly to go for because I was aiming for a photograph that looks more like a film still rather than a clothing brand's shoot.
I'll check the lighting again.
I ended up trying it from back here.
Thank you.
This turned out okay. It feels quite neutral to me though, like it's not bad but also doesn't really stand out in particular, so I'm afraid it just didn't work out that well.
Try the looking up to the sky once more. Oh, that's pretty nice, yeah. Alright, just check it and hope for the best.
This one is better, I find. While this does feel more like a clothing brand's commercial photo, which is not what I initially wanted to go for, I do still like the features that initially intrigued me, the inorganic structure of the tiles that contrast the organic shapes of Georgia and the bush in the foreground.
Let's indeed check out the yellow door because that is quite a fun door to play around with. How yellow is the yellow sweater? As in, does it match?
And this would just go on top of that shirt that I was wearing.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that could be nice. Yeah.
So here we played around with some poses and positions for some time because this yellow door was so cool and Georgia had come well prepared with multiple different pieces in her suitcase in case there was a chance to make use of other colours in her outfits. And so instead of contrasting colours, we tried to go for matching colours this time. Even though the two yellows are a little different, I think they're close enough to work together in a photograph.
With your body looking this way and the head that-ish way, I think that was pretty good. I just went ahead.
This is the result, and I really like this one. I tried to find a decent frame for Georgia, and I think this worked out quite well. There appears to be this open space in the middle between the door on the right and the trees and bushes on the left, which now wrap around Georgia, effectively framing her in the composition. I think this one turned out pretty cool.
I think that should be good. Alright, well then let's continue that way and see what else we can find.
This was so far a very interesting experience. As you might know, this style of photography is certainly not my usual practice. I find it very challenging to shoot with people directly in this way, but in a good way. It's like fun to mix things up every now and then, and I must say Georgia made this feel much easier because she basically acted like a cheat code. I barely needed to direct because she already knows how to pose, position and look, so I just focused more on where she could turn her head in order for the best looking light to shine onto her face. Anyway, it was really fun and I hope I can encourage you to try different styles every now and then as well. Here, we thought it'd be cool to get a shot of Georgia in the middle of the street with a train whizzing by in the background. After trying a couple different things, we ended up going with a little walk, which I was going to try to catch with some motion in the shot.
Oh, no, yeah, this one.
Oh yeah, I guess. Alright, I'm ready. Thank you.
The shot sadly didn't really turn out that good. I think I should have simply tried this as a still shot without the movement. The shot lacks precision, it's just a bit of a mess.
I think let's just briefly check out where they are walking right now because... Okay, never mind. This is not as interesting as I thought, but I just noticed the train will be passing here again. That could be interesting with those flowers potentially. Yeah, so if I come from this side... Could you come to this one? I think then you're like in between the bushes a bit nicer. I'll just keep an eye. I got one anyway to use this chance. Well, the thing is, I actually really like the way you were just like completely normally just standing here.
It's not too boring, it's okay.
No, it's fine. That's great. Absolutely not boring. Can we try having you here? Ah, okay. We're getting there.
Unfortunately, my GoPro battery died here, so I didn't catch the moment of the second shot, but it actually turned out really cool. This here is the first attempt, and while shooting I already thought that this one is not quite right yet, and now looking at it, I'm happy that we tried a second one because the composition here is just a bit of a mess. Here's the second one, which I think works much better. I like how the wires behind Georgia frame her instead of piercing through her, and the closer shot works better in my opinion. The train is the final touch that we waited for, which now acts as this dynamic background, and the shot, to me at least, seems nicely balanced. I'm happy with this one.
Okay, all set.
Then, with a fresh battery in the GoPro, we decided to leave the streets here and walk into Yoyogi Park, where we might find some more possibilities to shoot.
Have you been to Yoyogi Park much?
Many times, yes.
Alright, so that you must know like the little lake type of thing in there, the pond?
They got rid of it. I think.
No!
But
It's like a magnet, wearing holes in the carpet. Count
I don't know.
steps to the back door.
I mean, to be more annoying than that, so it's because we'll be moving around these trees for now.
Here, we found a spot with some trees to play around with. Georgia changed to a different shirt that is a little bright in order to stand out a fair bit among the greens and browns of the park.
So let's see, I was thinking sort of on this side here, looking more or less that way.
So the first shot I wanted to try is Georgia in the midst of this scene with the three thick trees that stand in the foreground. This is what I got, and I think it's okay, but not particularly good. I still like the idea, but it might work better with some different lighting. I'm not sure though. It's just not as interesting as I imagined it in my head.
I love those lower hanging leaves. Let's see if we can play with those.
Then the next shot I wanted to try was to have Georgia stand below this tree because the leaves had this particular shape that created a sort of top frame for Georgia, who I positioned in the middle of the composition.
Oh, actually that works great, yeah. Yeah, I really like the way the leaves are sort of like making a little roof above you, so hopefully that should be a nice match.
And this one I think turned out pretty cool. The composition with the framing from the tree worked out nicely I find, and the dark background lets Georgia stand out nicely in the centre of the frame.
Oh, actually let's check out the leafy tree.
time. I was actually gonna left my.
We've got another nice thing here. If I could have you standing here, basically you moving, and I'm going to try to move with you.
Sure, okay.
We'll just try to be in sync. So let's do a couple rehearsals. Let's just try it out. 3, 2, 1. Yes, I think that's going to be it. 2, 1. All right, let's try a second one. I think so. Maybe just a bit more, yeah.
Sure, sorry. I can't see where it is.
Oh, true.
But
2, 1. I think that was pretty cool, yeah.
So here again I gave it 2 tries, and this first one didn't really turn out the way I wanted to. However, this one I think turned out lovely. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's sharp enough to satisfy me at least. I love the look of the moving leaves and how Georgia stands out in front of the dark green background. Also, I just have to say this again, I'm so impressed by the colours I was able to get from this expired roll of film. It honestly doesn't even look that expired to me.
did you go back in Austria?
Stop for me to be inspiring because they
Because I grew up in Australia as well.
But now I remember because I have often walked down. It's a cute
Then
spot
we
here.
continued to walk through Yoyogi Park looking for some other spots. Here we found some things to play around with again, and to change things up I switched to a different lens. I wanted to try out the Pentax 50mm f1.7.
Sorry, let's turn around this way. Yeah, yes. Alright.
This one is alright. It's a nice shot, but not special in any way. Maybe even a little messy. It feels a little stale. Maybe I should have tried going closer.
Thank you very much. Oh, actually though, yeah, if we have you seated there, can we try exactly that on this side? Thank you.
I think this one is a bit better, however it also just feels a tad bit random and messy. For example, the big tree behind Georgia ended up being less of an assisting element in the composition and instead more of a distraction.
Right. And I was thinking somewhere back at the trees could be quite nice, so let's try that. Oh, actually, let's try right here. So I think I like the idea of having you in between the benches, but like much further in the foreground. Thank you. Actually, I quite like the way you're sort of straightening your hair. Let's go with that. Thank you. I think these could be pretty cool. I really like it.
So here are the two shots I got. This is the one that is a bit more posed. I love how with the 50mm lens I can get a full body photo while still keeping the background subtly blurry. Also, the 50mm mildly compresses the back, which enables me to have just the trees in the background, making for a very pleasing, uniform and textured background. And here is the second shot, and this one I like a lot. It's a bit more neutral, feels more candid, while keeping the same qualities of the previous shot that I enjoy. However, it's closer than before, so the background is blurrier, and personally, I think the framing is nicer in this one. It has more clarity. Oh, also one more thing about the composition, which is what initially drew me to this spot, are the benches. I like how the benches and George's skin tones stand out as similar colours in the otherwise very green frame, and build a sort of triangle in the composition, which simply adds a layer of structure in my opinion. Though one could also fairly argue that they are distracting. I personally see them more beneficially though. And that was the end of the shoot with Georgia. She had something coming up soon after this, so we parted ways after this, and I later in the afternoon continued to stroll through the streets of Tokyo for a bit longer to shoot some more with this film. Thank you so much to Georgia for shooting with me. I really appreciate that she came out to shoot with me, even though I told her that I literally cannot guarantee any results from the shoot. I had a lot of fun, and I'm so happy that we did end up with a couple decent photos. After she left, I was just walking around shooting some random stuff, and I must say most of these shots turned out quite boring or just too random. This one is decent, I think.
Is this a dead end? It's not. Wow, what is this? Wow. At last, my curiosity led me up some random steps I found, which ended up being a path to a beautiful quiet area in the middle of the city where there was a shrine and a cemetery. I just wanted to share this footage with you before ending the video because I thought it's beautiful. Anyway, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along. If you ever come across a roll of Fuji NPS 160, you know that it shouldn't be underestimated. Before saying goodbye, I would like to say a massive thank you to the lovely people supporting me and my work on Patreon. Thank you so much to each one of you. If you're interested in Lightroom presets, tutorials and stuff like that, you can check out my page via the link in the description. Also, I have a print shop by the way, in case that is of interest to you, also link in the description. With that said, I hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.